Hey guys, welcome to part one of the lands portion of my Aranea tutorial. So we're starting with some clear Worbla. I am just taking some 320 grit sandpaper to it to give it a more translucent look. We are actually going to dye our clear Worbla using the iDye poly packet, some boiling water, and a foil tray, aluminum tray. So you can see it kind of looks orange here, but in real life it definitely looks a lot more red. So now I'm just using some basic mathematic equations to figure out how large I need my lance to be based off of my height. There are a few portions in a reference photo that look like they light up, so I'm going to add that Magitech glow. So we're starting with a 1-inch white PVC pipe and a 6mm craft foam. We are just going to layer that with some contact cement around the PVC pipe. Okay, so this is going to be for the end. This is 2 pieces of 10mm craft foam that I just cut out and contact cement them together. This helps give it a more 3D effect. And then we're going to go in with the little side pieces. I just patterned it with some copy paper based off the reference photos that I'm using from the Final Fantasy cosplay reference. Now there are multiple reference photos and everything kind of looks a little bit different, so I'm going to leave this a little bit open to interpretation. But once we've got that one portion, we're going to contact cement those edges together. Now I cut those on a 45-degree angle so that way they will kind of sit flush and nice against each other there. And then once I have 3 of the sides together, I am going to... Oh no, sorry, actually I put all 4 sides together and I slipped the PVC pipe in between the 4 pieces, so this just kind of wrapped around and then I hot glued it into place. Just like that. Now I am going to be wiring some red LED lights. Now these are waterproof lights and they actually have an adhesive back, so that makes it actually really easy to wrap around the pipe. So I'm just going to kind of peel off the backing and stick it to the PVC. And then I'm just going to get an idea of what that red, you can see it looks a lot more red in this picture, that red dyed clear Worbla looks like. Marking off how high I want my LEDs to go. Make sure before you cut them that you disconnect your battery source, your power source, so that way you don't electrocute yourself. We're going to strip our red and black wires. There's a little bit of shrink wrap on there. Shrink wrap? Shrink seal? Heat shrink tubing, just to make sure all of our wiring is protected. Go ahead and solder your little wires onto there. Make sure it works. Before you wrap everything up in electrical tape, make sure that it works. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut out the clear Worbla. I actually painted a little bit of black around the edges just so it more closely matches my reference photo. I just used plain black acrylic paint for that. Then I'm going to heat it up with my heat gun. And the thing with clear Worbla, it's actually really fantastic, but it doesn't really stick to itself with heat the same way that regular Worbla or black Worbla does. So what we're going to do is use super glue. Now you can kind of see on that top portion there a little bit of white. I actually went in and made my corners a little bit sharper using Apoxy sculpt. One of my memory cards became damaged and I lost a portion of film, including the Apoxy sculpt portion and then the portion that you see right here. Unfortunately, I don't have video footage of that, but it's similar to what I did with the previous steps above. Next, we're going in with some 5mm craft foam to add some more detail. Once we've shaped that with the heat gun to our liking, we're going to just go ahead in and pop on those pieces once our contact cement has set. All right, there you go. That's what it looks like. And we're just going to continue to run that wire up along the inside so it reaches all the points where we want to have the lights. Now, these are the hand guards, I guess you would call them, that go on both sides. There's 2 of them. The process is the same. I'm just going to heat it up and use this actual Pokeball puzzle case that is the perfect size for what I need it for. So I'm just going to heat up my craft foam, shape it over the ball, and then I'm going to flip up the edges a little bit there. Just like that. And you can see there's the other piece. I used another 10mm piece of craft foam to pop it up, but then I'm going to put the other one on the other side. Now there are also these little wing portions that are going to go on the side using 4mm craft foam, and I'm just going to use my soldering gun to give them a little bit more detail. Don't worry, my windows are open. I know it's not good to breathe that. Next, there are two little spikes on the side. I am using my black Worbla scraps to just go in and sculpt those pieces. And then once those are all sculpted, I'm going to do the ring around the base. And then since it's got a nice flat ring around the base, it's really easy just to go in and contact cement those onto. Okay, here we are just inserting a wooden dowel and some insulation board. Using hot glue, the wooden dowel, my Dremel, insulation board right into the PVC piping. So this way it gives it a nice sturdy hold. I've also used expanding foam for this when I made my Urza swords, but this was actually pretty easy to do. And I didn't have any expanding foam, so that's why I did it this way. I am still not finished with the lance, so you can also look forward to another installment of this video where I finish the point, do some more detail, and then paint it. But in the meantime, here are a few other details that we stick along the sides of the lance here. A lot of people were asking how I draft my patterns, and it's really just kind of like eyeballing it, basically. Trial and error. I'll show you a little bit later in the video how I actually kind of go about figuring out the shapes that I need. Just doing some fine tuning. Even when I make a pattern, I sometimes still need to go back in because once the piece actually gets on, since it's more 3D, I sometimes need to make some details. But here is basically how I use my pattern. So you can see I have the reference photo right kind of above there. And I just use that with some copy paper that if it needs to be larger than one piece of copy paper, I just tape them together. You can use butcher paper, old wrapping paper, whatever you want. I just happen to have a poop ton of copy paper laying around, so I used this. And then what we're going to do is trim that edge down so you can see, even though I traced out the pattern initially, it still needs to be fine-tuned a little bit as well. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out of 10mm craft foam, heat it up so I can close those cells. It's a lot easier to prime and paint when you heat them with the heat gun because it closes the foam cells and the paint doesn't soak in and the primer doesn't soak in. I'm going to use some contact cement to attach that to either side of the PVC pipe. One side and then the other. Okay, and then we're going in and we're adding some kind of curved details. Now, I have pins, straight pins that I use to kind of help me figure out the forms that I need. But again, here I am with the copy paper, just kind of tracing it along to make sure that my angles are correct and that when I add all of my pieces, the edges are going to match up correctly. Here's my final piece that I figured out with my pattern. And I'm just heating it with the heat gun off camera there and shaping it as I go. And again, see, even though I had a pattern, I do want to go back in and give it a little bit more of an opening there. It's definitely not an exact science. And that's what it looks like. See how it doesn't exactly line up? That's okay. I'm actually going to go in with some silicone to fill in those blank spaces. These are the these pieces that go along the top portion. of the lance, just using contact cement, placing them along the edge there. Adding in a few more details. There are actually 4 of these on the lance. And then this is a curved piece that goes along the underneath. I just heat it up with my heat gun, curve it around itself, and then do a similar shape but a little bit smaller on the underneath, which we'll see. So you can see here this has a notch, so that way it goes along that fin portion that unfortunately I seem to have lost footage for, but you can kind of see how that looks. And then on the other side, I just did a smaller one just to finish off the edge there. And this is the first portion of my lance. Here it is in all of its light up glory. Stay tuned for part 2 next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. You know what stinks? It's like there's no good way to put this thing down.
I can't wait to hold it when you're like having a costume malfunction.